Okay, mute is off, and we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and... Hi, welcome to G3. We're here. I think we're on episode 18. Wow,
18.
That's a big number. I'm so proud, and I'm happy to welcome you all here. I hope you're returning, and if you're new, we welcome you. And we've got a group of ladies who like to talk tech every week. That's what we do. So let me introduce you to my lovely, lovely co-hosts. In my upper left, Rebecca Woodcock. Hi, Rebecca. And Rebecca, do you talk today? Oh, there you go. I just wanted to make sure your audio was actually working. Okay. And up in my upper right, Hallie Sue Tucker. Hi, Hallie.
Hi. You girls, get some red lipstick. I can't even see you.
Oh, my God. Wait a second. I'll show you my red lipstick. and Mary Hodder in my lower right. Hi, Mary.
Hey.
Hi. Hallie says we have to put lipstick on.
I don't have any lipstick.
There you go.
You're going to have to mail me some.
Here, I'll just color you.
Put it on the screen.
There you go.
I'll match it up.
Hallie is virtually putting some lipstick on you. How about that?
There.
So as we like to do, we'll open up the show with a little non-tech. I'll say, apples and honey. Happy New Year. Happy Rosh Hashanah. The year is what?
Yeah.
5775. Woo!
Yeah. I didn't know that, but now I do.
There you go. So what's going on this week, ladies? I have, I don't know, I guess I have a few notes, but I'm really, really curious to hear what you've been thinking about and reading about. Oh, wait, a little piece of
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Thank you. I forget my words sometimes.
Me too.
Just anyway.
I forget my words. I remember yours.
So on our Facebook page, we have a new tab that says Ustream Live, and hopefully, I'm hoping it will take you to another Facebook page when you click on it, and that will show you our show live. And when we're not live, it will also show you, it will give you access to some of our previous shows. So right there from our Facebook page, and we should be able to show you our Facebook page right there. All right. Okay, housekeeping is over. So I wish housekeeping was over at my house. Someone please send me one of those cool services. I need one of those. You know, where someone comes in and cleans your place. Okay. So actually, you know what I did get? I did get a robot vacuum cleaner, and we haven't tried it yet. But
a Roomba.
Yeah, and not a Zumba, another one. What's it called? I can't remember. But it's supposed to be a little bit better for pet stuff. But I think I'm going to try it out in my daughter's room because she doesn't like to sweep or anything. So. Okay, so what up, ladies?
I have a question.
Oh, you don't get to ask questions.
Come on.
Okay, Hallie's question.
Everybody wanted to talk about Apple last week. We didn't, so I'll be fair and bring it. What are people doing with these bendy phones? What's going on? Why are people even bending them? Why? Are they super bendy? Are they like taffy? I don't have one. I want to know.
Well, that's a good question. I think people are wearing them in tight pants is what I think is going on.
Yeah.
So whose responsibility is that?
Not Apple.
Uh-huh. Okay. You people need to talk because I lost Rebecca and I'm trying to get her back.
So, Mary, did you get a new phone?
No, I did not get a new phone. I'm an Android user. What can I say?
So you could care less, right?
Well, no, I mean, I do think it's interesting, and I do like that, I do like some of the I mean, I'm interested in the discussion and what's going on. And so, of course, when I found out about the bendy phones, I was like, oh man, my phone, it won't bend. It's static. And so, I felt like I was missing out on that feature, and I wanted a bendy phone, in an Android version.
I saw a picture of a Gumby phone, like total bendiness, right? And it was kind of cute, I gotta say, but I don't know. I have an iPhone, but I don't feel any. Did you see any feature that made you think I must have the new phone?
Well, the big
The
is
bigness?
desirable. The bigness, yes, because all the Android phones are, much bigger and there's a lot more screen real estate. So, I mean, I get it. Everybody I know who got an iPhone got the
Right.
big one,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Nobody said, "Oh yeah, I think I'll replace my little phone with a little phone,"
Slightly
because yeah, there's
bigger.
no other features that anybody needs, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So
Well, this
that makes
tells
sense.
this tells a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, how
The person
many?
whom you're trying to reach is
Uh-oh,
currently
there's a British
unavailable.
person.
Please leave a message
Who's
after the beep.
that? I think that's the Skype lady. Hey, Skype lady, you can't be on
Skype
our
lady.
show. Get out of here.
I
What's she?
like how she's so incredibly politely British.
I
She's like,
know.
the person you were trying to reach.
You know, I
Anyway,
had
so did you
go
guys
ahead.
join ELO? Sorry, is there anything else to talk about with Apple? I mean, we can keep talking about Apple. I'm okay with it, but,
I
you know,
how can I Mary?
yes.
Your mic is scratching something and sounds muffled. Or
Really?
is it under your
Okay.
shirt or hair or anything like that?
Oh, you know what? Maybe for some reason, even though my settings say that the mic is the machine mic, maybe it's actually working off of this thing. So how's that? Better?
Yes, it is
Okay.
better.
Do you have
Okay.
Rebecca back?
So we're having a difficulty with Rebecca's feed. So I'm going to put you two ladies on a two screenshot again. And
Okay.
I'm going to try to work it out. And if not, we'll decide then. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So anyway, I don't know if we have anything more to discuss about Apple right now, but we could come back to that. You could put a pin in it. How about that?
I think it's
But
funny that you say that the bigness is a big deal because it seems to me the only big deal was the bigness. So I'm like, what did I miss? I feel like there's some feature, it must be fabulous that I'm missing, but glad to know per you, not so. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything, and I've been looking, of course, at all the people discussing,
yeah.
showing their new phones, and I'm not seeing anything else that would make me want to get it, other than if you wanted an iPhone, but you wanted it to be bigger, this would be your chance.
Yeah.
Except it's bendy, and so, here we go. Um, so I don't have that much else to discuss because I didn't get one. I'm just watching what other people do, and I don't really care.
Well, wait, there
We
is a
already
new,
we already had giant phones.
there is a new Moto X Android coming out.
Yes, I saw
And
that
you see there's
actually.
been announcements about that.
Moto and Motorola waste no chances, no opportunities to tell me on my phone in the email that I signed
Yeah.
up with to send me all this
Right.
stuff, to track me around online and insert the
Yeah.
ads on whatever web page I'm on. I am well aware of the coming Moto. It's kind of annoying actually.
And you don't care.
Honestly, the phone is not that great, even though, I've been using it for the last few months. And I'm pretty much ready to go back to a Samsung, like a giant Samsung, which
Giant.
frankly, I kind of, from an Android user's perspective, kind of feel
Yeah.
like Apple copied, so what can I say?
Okay. Gotcha.
We've had giant phones for years, those of us on the
They used to be
Android side
very
of things.
giant. It's
I
like,
know. Well, they're
again,
still
it's part of
giant. I
my,
sat
like,
next
is
to
this
this woman on the
retro tech?
Yeah, it is. I sat next to this woman on the plane yesterday. She was this teeny weeny little woman, and she had this enormous phone. It was huge, and her teeny weeny little fingers were, she was like composing War and Peace on that thing because it was so giant, and it was just a phone. And of course, she texted with her friends all the way through the flight because she could just hop on the Wi-Fi and it worked. And she watched movies and she did all this stuff, and it was huge. It was the biggest Samsung thing I've ever seen. It was just enormous.
Do you
It
think
was
small
great.
people should not be allowed to buy that?
Yeah, I just thought it was
Is she
really
too
interesting that in
small?
relation to her size, she bought the very biggest phone. It was like she could have lived in that phone. She could have been like the old woman in the shoe. She'd be like the little teeny girl living in the Samsung phone. So, what can I say? I don't know.
Oh my Lord.
Anyway,
Well, it is to get serious down to, where we were headed for years, away from desktop, away from laptop to whatever it is, super, super portable. And then it's like we bounced back a little, right? Like it got so little, it's too small, come back a little. So now it's back a little. Have you seen sales numbers on how many people were getting the big one, the big iPhone 6 Plus just the 6? I haven't, but I can dig
I
some
have
up.
not. Although I
All
did
my
hear
friends are
something
making me
about,
think the same thing.
but I did hear something about 4 million pre-orders. And I also saw the reports about, um, I don't know, mafioso types, trying to get in line at the Apple Store in New York City. And I mean, obviously, if, it's true. Whenever the bad actors get involved, your product is successful. That's
That's a
the tech
terrible
line, right?
metric.
Yep, that's your
It's
metric.
true.
So, of course, Apple. Um, yeah.
Hey,
Ladies, okay, so
she's back.
Hey,
She's back.
Rebecca.
ah,
Hi, I'm back. I
I've
feel
got
like
to
I've been
I've
playing.
got to wipe my brow here. Oh my gosh. Okay, sometimes tech works and sometimes it doesn't. So, we do the best we can, and I think Rebecca's back with us.
Yay!
Oh, yay, Rebecca. She was lost in Skype world or something like that, right, Rebecca?
Was some sort of purgatory and I couldn't get
Purgatory.
out.
Yeah. So, as the ladies were, Mary and Hallie were, I think, chatting
What are we
about
talking about?
the iPhone 6
Yep.
and the 6 Plus. And I think I just interrupted. So let's are we winding that up or are we in the middle of it? Because I
Well,
really
you guys
couldn't
can
listen.
certainly you can add something. We were just saying that the idea of them offering a 6 and a 6 Plus, everybody we're talking to is just getting the bigger one. Like, so why did they do that? And was that what you guys did? Did you get one?
Uh, I have not gotten one yet.
Did Steve?
Did you order one?
Steve ordered one. I'm waiting.
The bigger or the smaller?
Steve thinks he's not allowed to get one. That's what he says.
Global conspiracy.
Yeah, Steve was very upset. He spent a lot of time in a line.
It's me versus China.
Yes, he says
Yeah.
it's him. If you can hear him, he says it's him versus China. Apparently, there were lots of people who were buying two phones, and they were, which that's not unusual, right? That happens all the time.
That happens a lot.
But apparently, there were a lot of Chinese folks who were buying and handing them off to someone else. They were being paid to stand in line, and Steve says he lost out to China. I don't know.
Oh, golly. Hey, what happened to iOS 8? Somebody
it got
ate it.
canceled, right?
Well,
What the heck? Mary knows. Mary, you
I'm
were.
fine with it. I got to tell you, so I've upgraded all the machines here except the one I'm talking to you on now with last year's iOS
Yes.
Mavericks. And I have to say there's a number of things that Mavericks is sort of a showstopper on for me about using certain programs that I use a lot for design, usability work that I do and whatnot. So not great. But the other thing that I've noticed is that it does some funky things when I'm, with just some of the basic utilities, backing up and,
are we talking about iOS or iOS?
this is sorry, this is just the old Mavericks. And so anyway, when I heard, this is just my reaction. Again,
Yes.
I'm not an iPhone user, but when I heard that the iOS 8 was not coming out, I thought, well, given all the problems that I've had with Mavericks, doing things that I don't want it to do or not giving me at least a heads up so that I can say no on all these other machines, I basically, frankly, think it might be better if they hold off and get their usability together. They seem to be slipping on usability. That's my impression. It's not like the Steve Jobs days where, it's good to be a tyrant, I mean, you whip everybody into shape and you make them get the usability together before you release the product. And I gotta say,
that worked.
Who else
Yeah.
is upgraded to iOS
Not
8?
me. I never upgrade at first. And actually, Apple tends to release really buggy software and sort of they do these beta launches actually. People forget about it, but
Well, it's
they've always had problems. And actually, I tend to wait because I don't want to
How
be
long do you
paying
wait till you start
premium
to hear that
for
it's stable? And I mean, are you looking to the crowd to tell you what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. I look to the crowd to see what's going on, and if there's too many recommendations, like for this last update, the iOS 7, I actually only updated it about a month ago because the reviews were so awful. And yeah, actually, even after it was a year, I still
Uh-oh.
saw, hey, now I know what everybody's talking about. It's kind of bad.
yeah.
So I got to
have
tell you that for iTunes, they did an upgrade, I want to say last January, and I still haven't upgraded that on this machine or the other ones. Like, I won't allow it because everyone complains so much, and all the things they complained about still haven't been fixed. So here we are 9 months later, and I'm still saying no to that upgrade because I think it's garbage.
Yeah.
I don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Personally, I tend to just wait for a while until someone who I'm working with or in my family tells me I must do it. I'm resistant to it. I hear things and I think I don't want the fuss. I don't want the problems. I want to wait for them to sort of sort themselves out. But I'm wondering, if you're in a workplace environment, what are you recommending for your coworkers or the people that you're working with? I mean, do you say go for it or no?
No, I wouldn't.
Don't you think all of us do pretty creative work and kind of work in lots of different ways? And I don't have any anybody really telling me what to do with my versions. And I wait. But I know Mary and I both have extremely well-trained programmer, brilliant significant others who even, I don't know what yours says to you, but mine says, first he'll be like, yeah, upgrade. And then realizes if it's going to be a headache and a mess, it's going to be his headache and mess most of the time because I don't want to deal with it. And so he's like, yeah, you might want to wait. So, even with the best help, I'm like, well, sometimes you'll read the update. Most people don't even read what the update is. This improves Japanese language facilities for, it's so completely uninteresting, unimportant, or something I never use. I'm like, I'll wait, forget it, I'll wait. Because it doesn't take any time like it used to, but it really can throw things off and mess up your settings and everything else.
I'll give you an example on upgrades on my phone. Okay, so this is my Moto X, and I believe I have Android. I'll tell you in a second. I have a particular version of Android that allows me to use certain programs, and because I am asked every day every 24 hours if I will upgrade this OS because they want to put it in the 4 series or maybe I'm in the 4s and they want to move it to 5s. And it turns out that basically, let me see if I can show you this.
Yeah.
So you can see here, this is the little thing, and it's asking me when I want to do upgrade, when the later can come, and I have a max of 24 hours. Every 24 hours, I move the little thing back 1 minute so that I get 24, so I don't have to scroll through to the stupid 24 hours. And I say, okay, remind me again later because I don't want to upgrade this thing. Because one of the things that the newer version of Android prohibits or allows the phone companies, Verizon and AT&T, to block is tethering with the phone, right? So I pay for a data plan, but if I'm out and about and for whatever reason I can't get on Wi-Fi on my machine, I want to tether with my phone. Well, if I upgrade the OS, I'm going to lose that very valuable functionality that I use all the time. Yes,
very bad.
And so every 24 hours, I go through this click, 3 stupid clicks because I don't want to accept the upgrade. I mean,
Right.
that's how far I'll go to avoid a bad upgrade. And, it's, I mean, I think upgrades are not always good, and I will avoid, but, but I do
On my
this all the
computer,
time.
right now, it says updates available. Do you want to restart to
Right.
install these updates now
Right.
or try again tonight? And I get the choice of
tonight.
later, tonight, tomorrow. I do the
Right.
same thing. I do
Yeah.
the same
Everybody
thing.
does. I
Delay,
think
delay,
everybody
delay
does.
with this.
Delay.
Because
Yes.
it can be a mess, and you can get into an update that just borks something that you need to use like in
Yeah.
5 minutes. Right,
Right.
Rebecca?
Right.
That's
Right.
really, really important for your productivity.
Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't, to me, it seems as if it's like it doesn't have an idea what my life is like. Like I am running around, I'm busy, I'm in the middle of 23 things, and you want to upgrade? Sorry, I don't want to upgrade. So whoever you are, go away. Stop asking
so-
me. It's
so
the biggest
this-
nag I've ever heard. It's like,
This
you
totally
know, people,
points
if
to the
it was a
Skype-
wife, it would be divorced.
So if the update said to you on its notification, if it got really specific and it said, it would help you with blah blah blah, which you do all the time,
I
would that
do
help
that.
you? Would it, if it knew you and knew that update was going to help you?
Shouldn't it? You would
It
think that would
should.
be pretty obvious. If it would give me money or candy, that would be good. Hey,
So
also,
I gotta say, when Skype
Skittles.
upgraded, 3-4 weeks ago, and nobody could use a prior version for to save their lives.
Right.
That's
And
it.
if you didn't have the very latest Mac OS
Right.
on your machine, you couldn't use it. So you were
I know.
effectively locked out. Well,
Right.
now, of course, 3-4 weeks later, they have finally upgraded the current version of Skype to work on older machines, and I'm an OS back. So, and I didn't want to upgrade because, again, the Mavericks problems, right? Like, I didn't want to put it on this machine. So I upgraded another machine. I've been Skyping in on the other machine, but it's kind of a pain in the rear to have two machines. And then, of course, on this show, I'm always like looking away constantly. Well, what am I doing? I'm looking at our chat on the other machine and then using Skype on the machine that,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
stupid. And so it was so irritating to me when they did their upgrade that way, when they basically, I was just locked out and I couldn't even look at my old like chats that were work chats that had important links and information in them. And, and that I use those all the time. Like I'll go back and search and stuff. Like I just lost all my work for basically a month
Yeah.
until I could get it
Thanks.
back.
That-
That
and-
was the worst upgrade I have ever seen, was the Skype upgrade a month ago, where they
If
just
you-
locked everyone
right.
out unless you had the latest OS and the latest Skype. It was horrible.
I think they even need to say a warning like that. But then it's like you create productivity tools and you want to upgrade your tool that's going to make me completely unproductive. It doesn't work so well. By the way, my annoying sister's watching today. It's her birthday. Could we sing happy birthday to her? And I'm going to yell at her because she's making fun of me on a text that she's sending me. So are you ready to sing?
Is that what makes her annoying?
No, she's telling me she didn't like my comment about a nagging wife. So she's right. You're a pain in the ass, Jean. You're a feminist long before me, I know. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, you ready? Happy birthday to you. Is that good or lower?
That's try
Too
it.
high.
Try
Okay,
it.
Happy birthday
Day
to you.
Happy birthday to you.
to you.
Happy
Happy birthday, dear Jean.
Happy birthday to you.
Yep, there we go.
We can't all sing at once, can we? We talked about singing the other day.
I'm
No,
on a
we just
delay,
keep-
so I wouldn't be in sync anyway, I think.
We just can't all
Terrible.
talk at once, because then I go like that. So yeah. So
She says thank you, thank you, thank you.
Jean,
is Jean saying thank you for the yeah, yes.
She should
Annoying
be on
Jean.
she should be on our friend feed chat, shouldn't she?
You explain how to do it. I can't figure it out.
Well, she can log in with her Facebook, right? She can just click through and, not a big deal. And then she's just on the chat and she comments.
Okay, I'm telling her.
Friendfeed.com/Tina Gilmore.
Uh-oh.
And then use Facebook to log in, and then there she is. And then she could do it with all of us. She could tell us all.
Friendfeed.com.
Friendfeed.com/Tina Gilmore, one word. And then use her Facebook thing to log in, which is, going to make it super simple, right?
Or she can go to our Facebook page and find the chat link there.
Okay. That's good.
I've lost Rebecca again. This is
I love to see you conjure
all
her up.
too fun.
It's like a witch with a cauldron. You're like doo and trying to bring her up. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this is what I feel like. Like the crystal ball, trying to make her materialize.
This is
like,
our.
Can we bring her back? I don't know.
We're getting ready for Halloween that way.
Some days are like this. Okay, so did any of you catch the Emma Watson?
The person whom you're trying to reach.
Oh, good
is currently-
God! Please, Skype.
Girl.
It's Skype English girl. The person you're trying to reach is
She's so
apparently
polite.
unavailable.
Did we try to see what? Emma Watson, what happened?
Emma Watson.
So Emma Watson. So gives a UN speech. She's a UN Goodwill Ambassador, and she champions women and gender equality around the world. And there was. I wish Rebecca was here because she was
the person whom you're trying
my
to
goodness.
reach is currently unavailable.
I'm so sorry.
That woman.
Hi. So there was
It's about he for she.
What?
There's a hashtag he for she, guys backing her speech. This is Emma Watson's speech.
Right.
And guys are
right. So they're basically threatening to release, nude photos of her, sexually explicit photos of her. And then it's not, we're not quite sure whether it's a hoax or not. But in any case, this is all too typical of, women who get out in front of, in the public eye and advocate for women and for equality. And then they're threatened with exposure and with embarrassment or with naughty you. So
I do see
Rebecca,
this
we were
during
just talking
CNN.
about the Emma Watson thing.
Emma Watson.
Yeah.
I see it was a hoax, it says on CNN. It says the threat to release nude photos.
It's a little
It's a
unclear, I
hoax.
think,
Yeah.
actually, is if it was a hoax or not. I think even the just floating this idea is threatening in and of itself, because it's whether it was actually going to happen. I don't think we can really tell. I mean, sometimes people pull back and say, "Oh, no, that wasn't it." But
Right.
Rebecca, you were kind of interested in this subject and about Emma and what was going on. What were your thoughts about it?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is she actually, whether it's a hoax or not, she actually was inviting both genders into the conversation, and that was kind of her goal. So I find it really strange that there would be any backlash, whether it's a hoax or not. Even a hoax is a backlash, I would think, right? I mean, the fact that it even exists, that somebody even put it out there, somebody put it out there. So, but the fact is, she is actually saying, okay, the man-hating needs to stop from any form of feminism, and we actually need men at the table to be representatives, and not only for women, but for themselves, because they face gender issues as well. They're not completely have it all rosy and golden, and they've got every every equality opportunity in the world, they're treated with double standards too when it comes to emotion. And I can't remember what else she mentioned, but the fact is that she actually was advocating that men come to the table and have these conversations as well, and it's not just women. And so that there is even a backlash, a hoax or whatever. Just I found it really strange.
Yeah.
I think she actually makes a great point. I've
She
known
does.
several men who have been in child custody disputes who were, in my view, and ultimately the court finally agreed in the court's view, clearly the much better parent, the much more stable and sane parent, and for a long time the courts refused to consider, giving them either half custody or, more than half custody of the kid. And, basically the mothers had to, in some cases prove themselves to be, child molesting, insane people. And then finally the court said, okay, we'll give the dad custody because that person isn't a child molester and isn't crazy. But it took going that far. I mean, and actually, I think it caused a lot of damage for the kids because it dragged on and on for 3 or 4 years, and the kids actually had to suffer in order for the court to consider that the father might be the right person to do this with. And it seems to me that that's a great example of gender bias in our culture, where we just automatically assume that mothers should have complete custody and only the dad as a last resort, which is kind of awful, and we don't seem to be able to get past that. It's a little better now than it was 10 years ago or 15, 20 years ago, but still, I mean, I see this coming up with people that I know, and it's not good. So if she's bringing that to the fore, great. And the other thing that I think was really interesting about this was the hoax nature of this, that it was, ultimately, it was done by some group, and I think we still don't know who, or at least the last that I looked late last night when we were kind of talking about this, there wasn't any information on who had perpetrated the hoax, but they wanted to do it to embarrass or create problems for 4chan. And that was also interesting. I mean, this sort of general notion of sort of cyber warfare, it's not just for Israel and Syria, right? It's like happening kind of all over in all these interesting contexts, and people are sort of using a whole new set of tools to go after different groups. Or it's not just happening on Facebook, with some, like, there's the very famous stories about like a mom bullying a teenager to the point where the teenager kills themselves because the mom was acting on behalf of her own child, or crazy stuff like that, right? It's we know those kinds of stories, but now the notion that one group would, for sort of political, technical, weird reasons, decide to go after another group, so go after 4chan because they don't like them or whatever. I mean, it's just very interesting watching this play out.
When I wanted to bring up the lawsuit where many programmers were cheated out of money because of the big bosses, Apple, Ellison, at Oracle, were in cahoots, right? So there's a lot of men facing a lot of other problems at work that are not so easy, right? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people have a kind of every male white geek is like, a millionaire and having an easy time of it, and it's not so true. They are also, as we know, many are facing being replaced by people from other countries who will work for next to nothing compared to what they're working for, right? So they're kind of getting it from a lot of different angles. It's not.
Or the other thing, and I'm hearing this from engineers, in and around Mountain View, who are white, is that so I've heard this directly about one specific project, is that basically the manager has said, we're not hiring any more white people. We're only hiring Chinese. They don't care whether they're in the U.S. or in China. It's not about getting a cheaper hire. It's basically, we're not hiring anybody but Chinese. I mean, it's
the
like,
boss is Chinese.
welcome. welcome to being a quote unquote minority white
Right.
people, because we're the, we can move over to that side, at least in certain contexts now. And that's, I think, a very interesting position. Of course, when you got a bunch of white males in the room, who this is being said to, and it's been said in front of groups of guys. I mean,
Yep.
it wouldn't be hard if there was, some desire to, I don't know, take action or something. It wouldn't be hard to prove that this is going on. But it's very interesting, because it does say, to what has been the default culture, right?
Right.
White males have always been the default culture, that now they're facing something that they probably didn't face before, which is, basically discrimination because there's in favor of Chinese engineers. And it's not about money. It's actually about communication, a style of working,
Right.
other things, a belief that basically Chinese engineers are better. I don't actually think that that's true. I haven't seen that to be the case. As a class, I mean, certainly there's great Chinese engineers and there's great white engineers. And you kind of, in my view, you take them one at a time, but not for the managers that I'm hearing about, who multiple managers on a series of projects in a particular company are apparently saying this now. Like, we're just not hiring white people; we hire Chinese. That's it. Which is a very interesting. Yeah, it's kind of shocking.
It
really.
is.
I mean,
It
because
is.
because when it comes to discrimination,
And
I
it's
think
illegal. So, I mean, isn't it?
It is.
I'm not sure that it is. I'm not sure that it is. The thing is that there is discrimination that's legal because we define protected classes, right? So you're not allowed to, for example, let a woman go if she's pregnant, and she's told the company, or you're not allowed, because you say, oh, well, we don't want to deal with that, or you're not allowed to gender discriminate or sexually harass, male or females. Doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter, it could be men or women. And I worked at a company once where I watched the female office manager go after a billing clerk who was flamingly gay. And the sexual harassment was just, and she, had no personal interest in him. It was power harassment. I mean, so you have these protected classes, but he wasn't in a protected class because he was gay at that time. In California, that was not a protected class, so there was nothing he could do. But so there's protected classes, and it would be, I would guess that anything white is not a protected class right now. But maybe that'll change.
I doubt it.
I thought that hiring based on ethnicity or gender or not hiring someone based on ethnicity or gender or age,
but it has to be a listed class. It has to be one of the protected classes. So you could say, ethnicity, but usually those are spelled out, and there's like 20 categories or whatever. And I think I don't know. I mean, it would be really interesting. I do have some friends who are employment attorneys, and maybe I'll just shoot them an email and say, what do you think about this? Like, is this a protected class? Because it would be really interesting to know in terms of just understanding Silicon Valley dynamics,
It would be nice if we had Denise Howell on the show today.
I know, maybe she would know. Too
But
bad she's not here. Denise, we need you.
She couldn't be here today because she's busy.
Well, don't you
busy,
think some of it happens because, if a guy comes in, he's a boss of a department and he knows 5 other guys, it's the old, friends hire friends. So when women are saying nobody is hiring females, there may be a man in charge who's hiring guys he knows that he depends on. And if there's a Chinese guy hiring Chinese, maybe those are the guys he depends on. So I think it's at least this may all bring about the idea that if you're going to start a company, have an HR person as one of the early hires. You really need that to keep things legit. And that seems to be, you only bring in the HR person when there's some disaster, and it's, I don't know. In your company, Rebecca, do you have an HR person?
No, we're too small. It's a startup. I mean, when you're a startup,
how many people you have?
there's no way you can afford. I mean, less than 10. So we outsource that type of
Yeah.
functionality, and those people don't do recruiting. I mean,
Right.
outsourced HRs don't recruit. And forget it. I'm getting called by recruiters all the time. Do you know how expensive it is to hire somebody through a recruiter? No way.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is you're paying as a startup, you're paying at least $20,000 per hire just in a commission fee. Uh-uh. As a startup, there's no way I'm going to do that.
Busts your budget.
Yeah. Do you know
Yeah.
how much? Do you know how much we can make a $30,000 commission stretch if just by not paying that?
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
Well,
Or
that
the
is what
alternative is that
happens.
you hire somebody through the recruiter on an hourly basis, and then you're paying, an extra $30 an hour for so you pay for it that way. You pay for it one way or the other. By the end of the year, you've paid an extra 30K for that person. So yeah, I mean, I totally get it. Yeah.
or you do
And
some sort
yet,
of gimmick bonus for people to refer with other people, other engineers, which then you get this friends of friends situation, or you have some sort of gimmick like win a year's worth of beer, which is still way cheaper than a commission for one recruiter, one job. So,
how much does a year's worth of beer cost?
I mean, let's say you even, I think we did the calculations one time. Even if it costs something like $10,000, that's a lot
That's a lot of
cheaper
beer. That's
than
like
a
800
recruiter.
bucks a month in beer. Good God. Is it for them or them and all their friends?
Oh, I don't know. Just for them, I think.
Beer enticements in Silicon Valley. This is fun.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
So,
um,
can I talk about Silicon Valley for a minute? The show.
the show. Sure.
I met at a conference a guy who works actually out here at HubSpot, and he went out to work on and write the second season. So I'm interviewing him tomorrow. I'm going to write about it, what it was like. And what I found really interesting, he's got a background. This is Dan Lyons, who
Hallie,
had
you're going to
been
write about it where?
on the Boston Globe on Beta Boston. Yeah.
Thank
Oh my
you.
God, I love Dan Lyons.
Okay,
He's
so listen.
so great. Yay!
What-
He's awesome. He's hilarious.
Well, you know who he is, right? That for
Yes,
a
he's
long
fake
time,
Steve Jobs. Oh my God, I love him.
he's
amazing.
fake Steve Jobs on
He's
Twitter.
fake Steve Jobs. Him and
Oh,
all
that's
all
right.
his fake friends, Katie, the PR chick, and he would always be like, he would go to lunch. He'd describe a lunch like he would go to lunch with Bill Gates or something, and fake Steve Jobs blog, and he would, Bill Gates would have this whole lunch, and he'd have it all catered, vegan for Steve Jobs, and then fake Steve would in order to be better than Bill Gates, he would be like, I'm just having water. I'm just living on water today, and everything was very like, always Steve Jobs was more erudite, more of an aesthete, more everything when it came to food or work or the next product or whatever it was. I mean, it was just brilliant. It was so perfect. It was great.
And
And then Brad Stone just figured him out.
when he was doing it, he was a reporter for Newsweek, and he actually, which I think is amazing, apparently lasted like a whole year with nobody knowing. Which
Brad
I
Stone
think that
figured it
part's
out.
funny. Now,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I said Brad Stone was the one who figured it out, I believe.
Yes.
Who
Yes.
was at the time, and I'm not sure if he's still there because it's so confusing with these reporters. They're like, bouncing around from one old to new news site to the next,
know.
and they're constantly
know.
changing. It's like, who can track Stephen Levy or Brad Stone or whatever? But anyway, so Brad Stone was at the New York Times, I think, at the
Yes.
time, and
Yeah.
and he's in San Francisco, and so he figured it out by like backtracking on the words and the humor, and
Yeah.
making matches between different posts and things that he said and stuff. It was very clever.
It was cute, wasn't it? So he was found out, and then, I mean, you're right. When you think about where a lot of these guys have gone, like, where's Steve Levy now?
He just left from one place to go to another, and I don't even know where he left, and I don't even know where he went to.
That's
It's
not
like,
good.
who
And
can track?
I was supposed
Who
to
can
know that
track?
too. Wait a minute.
Too confusing.
He went from Wired, right?
Oh,
Wasn't
right.
he?
Yeah, you're right. He wasn't Wired, and now
To he just went to oh heck.
Medium?
Huh?
yes, the
Medium?
new journalism site. Oh heck,
I think it is
Medium?
Medium. Yeah.
Medium.
Yeah, that
Medium?
was
Medium?
Medium. He's at Medium. But let me tell you more. So Lyons actually works at HubSpot. That's the big social media company here. And he got a chance to go, like about the last 6 months, to be writing with the writing team in the writing room of the show, Silicon Valley, for the new season. So I'm going to ask him about that. And you guys probably know the character that was the very Aspergery investor guy in the show was an actor who passed away during the making of the show. A really important character in the show and a wonderful actor. And so at 49, passed away of lung cancer.
Wow.
And they had to write around it towards the last few episodes. And
Are they writing that into the plot?
I'm going to find out when I interview him. I don't know the details. So, and how much he'll tell me, I don't know. But I thought, have you guys watched it all? Have you watched it?
Yes.
You should watch it, Rebecca. You'll like it.
I know everybody's telling me that, and I need to figure out how to acquire some
you
back
can.
seasons.
Do you have Amazon?
Oh yeah, is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon. You can watch. There's about 3 or 4 free pieces, and then there's like 6 or 7 episodes that are, if you buy them not HD, it's just $1.99 an episode. So it's pretty fun. You'll like it. I'd love to hear what you think of it. So, but they
All right.
I think they're trying again.
In our house, we like to point out the little inconsistencies, like, "Oh, we would never say that here," or, just it we always like pick at it a little bit, but it's pretty good. I think it's quite funny. It was up for an Emmy Award, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Really?
That also, just to update what I was saying, Peter Gregory is the character that was played by Christopher Evan Welch and passed away. So, which is sort of one of the most difficult things in TV to deal with. Even if it's a bit character, it's hard to do. So,
yeah, when it's not expected.
Right. So I will report back what I find out. And I think the thing I like most is like he's working for a company. I don't know if you guys know HubSpot. It's pretty well known here. And that they're like, yeah, go ahead and work for 6 months on a sitcom. Like, what kind of a job is that, right? And I thought that's, actually, the more you can be very flexible in your work and do interesting things and come and go, like that is one thing that's happened because all of us do freelance and all of us do all these different things, and many people have been laid off or fired or whatever. To go back to a regular job is really challenging because, that whole idea, it's real. I don't know how much money somebody would have to pay for me to be always in an office 5 days a week. It would be like, forget it. I don't know if you guys agree.
I feel you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's sometimes really scary to venture out on your own or to call your own shots or be your own boss, but the rewards are great too. And it would be, I don't know though. I haven't done that in quite a while, so maybe it would be a nice change of pace.
Well, the thing is, I think it's going to be,
there is that regular paycheck kind of thing.
That thing, but the economy, I think, is getting better. I think it's going to be, it's been hard to hire the right people, and then even the people with skills, I don't think want to work full time. I think we're about to see a lot of changes about how people work.
In what way?
Well, I don't know how people will adapt, but I mean, the loyalty bond between an employer and a worker is just shot to hell, I think. And so if you were offered something great, wouldn't you also say you want certain other terms or you wouldn't do it? I mean,
did you hear it? did you hear? Is it Virgin Airlines that is offering unlimited vacation?
Yeah. Well,
And I'm not sure if unlimited vacation is really what they're talking about,
yeah.
but I caught something and I never got around to reading about it. Did any of you hear about that? And what kind of incentive is that? And
Yeah, they're doing a limited program with their headquarters.
mm-hmm.
And you're right, it's not actually unlimited vacation. You have to not interfere with business. So you can, as long as you're doing it from anywhere, you can just go and get your stuff done and take off as much time as you need. But as long as things are getting done.
You mean and
But
work
that's- but
anywhere?
That's what.
Yeah, I think what it
That's
is
work,
is that
not
is that you could go. You don't have to sort of apply for your vacation days ahead of time. You could just be free to do that as long as you got your work done. So there was less. I don't know. I mean, is that really a vacation? If are you expected to work through your vacations?
Yeah.
But then again, if that's the only way that they can happen, I mean, so many people don't even take their vacation time.
Yeah,
And
that's
I think
right.
as Americans, many of us don't take that seriously at all. Europeans are much better at really using their vacation days or month. But we are sadly not. And I don't know if it's the American work ethic of just like work all the time, and that if you don't, you're lazy or not not cutting it, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
The interesting thing is that here, I mean, I think every job I've ever had for a company in Silicon Valley has had quote unquote unlimited vacation. I mean, it's not really unlimited, but
Right.
I mean, you could do this, but no one does. And nobody takes any vacation. What they do is after 3 years or 2 years or whatever, they leave the job, they
Right.
cash out the vacation, they take a
Right.
month between jobs, and that's their vacation.
Yeah.
But nobody goes on vacation in the middle of stuff because you can't leave. I actually know one guy who kept rescheduling his wedding around the release date of some software, and finally after the third time they did the wedding, and the software kept rescheduling, and so he kept rescheduling.
I wonder how
finally
that
they
marriage
just said,
went.
I know, really. I think his wife also
ever
worked
get
in
married?
tech, and so they just did it anyway. But ultimately, they went with a date that they thought was going to be months after the release, and of course, the release happened like during the honeymoon, and so the whole thing was just a disaster. And frankly, they should have just taken the first time and assumed that the software would be late because the project would release late, because the bottom line was, by pushing everything out, they just kept it out there with the release date of the software, and ultimately it all crashed into the same week. But that's what people do here. Nobody.
It would be great. Wouldn't it be great to get one of these jobs where they say you can take time off whenever, and like your first day, you're like, I'm going to take a little vacation this week, and I'll be seeing you next week. And then you go in, you work a day. I'm going to be working from home for about a month, and I'll get back to you. And then you just see how long you can last. Because the truth is, of course, they don't want you to take it. It's really so if you leave, they don't owe you any vacation days and like that.
You mean the unlimited vacation policy means they don't owe you vacation days? Because U.S. labor law wouldn't allow that. Like you have
that's
to
what
say how many
happens.
days. What?
Do you think they pay you when you leave for X days? They don't.
They have to. In fact, I have a cousin
I
who
don't think
left.
so. I
she
think
was
people
head of
I know,
sales.
they don't.
No, this just happened. I have a cousin who was head of sales at a very large hotel in California, and she, I think Hyatt bought the hotel from another huge chain, and they let everybody who was in a leadership position go. She was head of sales, of course. They let her go,
Nice.
and just with no notice, like 2 hours notice, like get out, and that's it.
Ooh.
And it was kind of ugly. They
How
didn't know
friendly.
anybody. They didn't even interview anybody to see, like, what have you scheduled in the hotel? She had events a year out. And of course, all the event people were very upset the people who had, paid for events, because they
Right.
did it because of her, because they knew she would follow through and make the event
Right.
work right. So it was not a good situation for the clients or anybody.
That's for
But
sure.
anyway, then she was owed like a month's vacation, and she had to take them to the labor board to get it. It was a month's pay. It was not a trivial amount of money. And then
Right.
I think they also owed her some sick leave or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They require that you say the days, and then, I had an employer actually a couple of years ago do that to me, but it was a week and a half's vacation. I just blew it off. I mean, I was like, it's just not worth going and doing
Not
that
worth the
because it's
hassle.
not that much money. Yeah, but basically they just didn't pay. And I think there are a lot of employers that do that, and the labor board wants an accounting. So then what happens is, once she did that, then they audited the company, and then now they have to pay everyone else, and they have to pay fines. So it's kind of a stupid thing for an employer to do, but the
Right.
bottom line is you do have to give a set amount. You do have to say, and as an employer, as someone who
do,
does
but
like who's on
Hallie,
the other
it's-
side. Yeah, I mean, you can't just take away the days, or say, oh, you have unlimited days, and then not pay any days or something like
But
that.
I think what Hallie is saying is that they're encouraging people to take unlimited days so that when they leave, whatever the set amount, they probably still have a set amount, like 2 weeks or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have unlimited vacation, you can come and go as you please. People are using up those days. So when they leave, they don't have to.
There
just
isn't
They don't have
anything
that
out.
payout. They
I don't
will
know.
That's
consider it
probably-
already satisfied.
I wouldn't be
It sounds
surprised. Is
kind of
it
loosey-goosey.
different state by state?
I know
Probably.
that
I bet it's
California is more
different.
strict, but the federal labor laws are also pretty clear on, you can't just say, hey guys, you get vacation time and you get sick leave, and then and it's just whatever you use, and then if there's anything at the end, like, we're not paying you for it. I mean,
Yeah.
the federal government doesn't allow that either. So the thing is my guess is, because it's for headquarters, that means London. Is that correct? It's
For
not
which
the
company?
U.S., right? This vacation policy for Virgin, like, that's going to mean London, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why probably they can do it, because the labor laws there are probably different.
They're very different. I worked for
don't know
Reuters,
the
and they had a very different set of policies for. It's when Jackson was born for, maternity leave and all. Like, you got a lot more time.
You mean
Yeah.
between the UK and
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we don't get much here.
No, not at all.
No.
You push that baby out and get back to work.
Girl.
What was the problem? Push? Was that a wrong word?
No, it's just so. It's true. It's so
It's
true. It's terrible.
Okay, so we're sort of getting close to the end. I think we had a little bit of a late start. Has anyone heard about Elo? Is it called
Yeah.
Elo?
That's what I was going to ask about earlier.
Hello, hello.
So-
Elo.
So it's really Elo or Elo. I don't know how you say it.
I've been thinking
it's-
that it might be Elo, like
Hello?
hello, but
Hello.
without the H.
Hello.
Elo.
So
Hello.
I am on it. I have one friend, the person who invited me in, and it's very retro. It's very like hipstery. Like, the fonts are, all the buttons and everything. They're all in Courier. It's very like an IBM Selectric 1986.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like, but it's, I'm still kind of putting around trying to figure out, like, how do I add more people that I actually know? Because, of course, they want to offer me very Twitter-like, here's some popular profiles. I'm like, I don't
Right.
want to be friends with popular profiles. I want to be friends with my friends, right? So anyway, but nonetheless,
Can we
you
just
know, the
say what this
problem-
is? It's a social media site. It
Yeah,
actually.
it's a social.
when
and
was
they-
it-
they-
When was it launched? It was launched a little while ago, right? Or in beta for what, 6
well, it's
months?
still in beta. Still in beta.
It's still in beta.
It says hello beta.
Hello.
But it's
Hello,
not like
beta.
it just came out, the other day.
Yeah.
But it seems to be sort of
Getting some
breaking,
traction.
and a lot of people are starting to pay attention to it.
Yeah. The problem is it's still the same old silo. And so they can say, okay, we're going to be an ad-free social network, But the bottom line is that it's, I'm looking at it here. It's like, we're simple, we're beautiful, we're an ad-free social network. Well, how long until they need to make money or their investors
How
say,
long?
hey,
Right,
you got to
right.
do
Stop.
something, and it's a
Yeah.
little less beautiful and a little more ad-filled and whatever. The bottom line is you're still in somebody else's restaurant or bar or house instead of making your own stuff and doing like a peer-to-peer social network. And the most simplistic kind of low grade level, email is, a peer-to-peer social network. When I email somebody, unless I'm going through Gmail or Yahoo or something, that's just direct between us. It's a communication that's direct. And if there's 50 people on the email, okay, so now it's a group email, but it's still peer-to-peer and it's outside of somebody else's house. But this is still a silo. It's still going to be a thing, and they say they're never going to sell user data to third parties. Well, it's not, Facebook actually doesn't sell third party data. What they do is they're doing two things. One is if you want to buy a certain set of characteristics as an advertiser or as whatever, then they'll let you buy ad space on those profiles because those profiles fit the characteristics. But that doesn't mean they're selling your characteristics out. They're selling the ads in, right? So that's not exactly accurate about Facebook, if this is a criticism of Facebook. And then the second thing that they do is because they have APIs with all those apps, if you plug in an API'd app to your profile, if you say, yeah, I want to use the, Rotten Tomatoes app or the whatever app, those apps can grab a lot of your data and your friends' data. And so they're not Facebook isn't selling that data, but they're leaking it out. It's leaking. Right. So the question is Ello going to have APIs and leak your data? Are they going to allow apps? Are they, if they're never going to allow paid ads, I guess that means unpaid ads could happen. But, but how are they going to support themselves? What is this going to be? Are they going to charge us all like $2.99 a month or, whatever? I mean, so it's interesting, but they are definitely going for the kind of retro hipstery kind of look and feel. And, it is way more cool than Facebook in terms of the look and feel, like for sure. It's way more fun.
An equivalent to Facebook? Is it?
I'm still figuring that out. I think the basic idea, let me click on the feature list because they've got a little feature list. Presumably you can post all the same stuff, photos, videos, status updates.
And porn.
Whatever. And porn, I guess. I don't know.
Do you know who started it? Who's the startup founder people?
It's actually two people, and I'm forgetting their name, but they're in the email actually that I got.
I'll look it up.
Let me go see if I can look. But in any event, welcome to ELO. Thank you. Have fun. Blah blah blah. Let's see. I don't know. Let me see if I can find an about. Here we go. About. So I do think it's interesting, and actually there was a Time magazine article from last January that quoted some researchers looking at the life cycles of social networks and about how social networks are have kind of a natural cycle where they have a down system. And so they were predicting that within 2 or 3 years, Facebook would lose 800 million users. And given that they've got 1 billion, that's 80%. And so it's amazing. Like, whoa, 800 million. That's their prediction. Who knows if it really happens,
They say, I read an article once all about like nightclubs and how nightclubs are cool for a certain time and then they stop being cool. And it just happens all of a sudden. And it's similar.
I think it's really similar.
That's why Facebook is going to start launching drones to get the people that have never accessed the internet in foreign countries onto Facebook.
Good luck.
I just think that's never going to happen. I mean, I suppose
giant-sized drones that circle the Earth. Is that what?
Giant. If there's
isn't that a satellite?
Yeah.
If there's one thing people in other countries really want to see from Americans, it's giant drones over their heads.
Giant drones.
Imposing drones.
That's going to be very popular.
Jet.
Yeah,
that's going to be popular.
I think it's ridiculous, frankly. I feel like it's so crazy. I mean, in the U.S., the FAA has said in no uncertain terms, the ways drones are right now, not going to be allowed. And they're not changing that policy. And it's because it makes, any kind of aircraft unsafe. It's like, the drones are like the TSA equivalent of terrorists.
But are we talking
it's,
about the U.S. or are we talking about parts of the
well,
world that
that's the
We're
thing.
talking about parts of the world that don't have those regulations, and that's why Facebook
But
has
the problem is
selected
that
some of these countries.
right, but the problem is that in the U.S. the FAA has a lot to say about how flights go around the rest of the world, because it doesn't matter if drones are banned in the U.S. if they're flying a giant 747 sized drone without a pilot over Mongolia, and a U.S. Airways or I don't know American flight is flying over Mongolia. The FAA is going to say to Mongolia, clean it up, don't allow this. Like, it's not going to be, it's because they don't want a US or a European or whatever, some other country's flight to crash into that drone because they're not, reliable. And that's the problem is,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, I think it's a
really
ridiculous
dangerous.
idea. And if you're trying to deploy internet into regions where they're relatively, they don't have any connectivity, then there are probably better ways to do it than flying a massive drone over it. I just don't understand why this is the solution that they came up with. It makes no sense.
And the other piece about it is, hello, jet fuel, it's like 10x as bad environmentally.
Oh no,
they're
trying to do battery operated. Yeah, try that one.
Oh, that'll work.
Yeah, solar drones,
drone.
the size of a. Yeah.
Did you? What about solar cars? Did you see that there's a new solar car, Stella?
No.
Well, we'll figure that one out and talk about it because that looks so cool. I've been waiting for a solar car. It sounds reasonable.
I mean, it's more reasonable because at least there's a driver behind the steering wheel. Yeah. And so let's say that they run out of solar power for a moment, or a cloud comes over the car and they suddenly can't drive. At least they can pull over, I mean, there was an article the other day
cars
quoting,
are coming too, right?
That's true, but there was an article the other day where they quoted Google is on the forefront of self-driving cars, and they said, we've been working on this for years, but we are years away from having it be acceptable to, basically to be allowed to drive on freeways and streets. Like, it's not safe enough yet. We're not there yet. And so if the cars aren't there yet, like, how are we going to make the planes there yet, which could crash into other planes? And I mean, the whole thing just, to me, sounds nuts. Self-driving cars, yes, I totally see that. But I don't see the planes.
I see you just driving through San Francisco sometimes, and all the hazards, the Ubers that are stopping in every street corner, the trucks that are unloading. I just don't understand how a self-driving car is going to be able to maneuver all
bikes?
of these hazards. If you haven't driven through San Francisco on a busy day,
go try.
Try it.
But so listen to Stella, a solar-powered family cars completed a drive from Los Angeles to San Francisco, fueled entirely by sunshine. A journey covering almost 385 miles. Called Stella, the vehicle can travel up to 500 miles on a single charge, clocking speeds of up to 80 miles an hour. The prototype four-seater has solar cells on its roof to provide power while driving, and it boasts a tablet that tracks traffic lights.
It had to be
did they charge in advance?
5, not a 101.
No, but did they charge in advance, or did they, because it says on a single charge?
Well,
so is that charged in advance, or is that as you're driving,
I imagine
the solar panel on the roof is collecting the power and powering the car? Because that's a big difference.
I would imagine that it collects into a battery like like the hybrid cars do, right?
Yep.
And so as you drive, it collects and it stores. But that's what I'm thinking. I really haven't. I don't know for sure. But I can't. No, it's not like the sun goes behind a cloud and the car stops. So, but it looks quite cool. So
I mean, it's a
new
cool
things
idea.
to come.
I would love to see that work. But I mean, if they're using even some advanced charge, if they're taking off with an advanced charge, that's not that far off from a Tesla or I
Well,
know
and
somebody in
500
Berkeley.
miles is more than a Tesla can do.
Right, but I know somebody in Berkeley who has a RAV4 that was all electric or a hybrid, and she turned it into an all electric. This is the earlier RAV4. Now they've come out again with hybrids and electric cars, but this is the early ones, and I think she bought it in like 2000 or something, and she put solar panels on her roof, retrofitted the car for electric only, and has been driving that car for almost 15 years, on a doing solar, but it's charged in advance. Like the car doesn't have its own solar power. So it's not a new concept if it's charged in advance.
Oh,
if
it's charged in advance. No, but this car has solar panels on the top of the car.
So if it's doing it that way, that's new. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Look out, Detroit. Not that Detroit's making cars anymore.
I was going to say, there's almost no Detroit left.
No, I know. It's so sad. That's where I come from.
It is sad.
Although, let me tell you, there was an article in the New York Times a couple of days ago about future good places to be for climate change, and Detroit was one of them.
Detroit.
Yeah,
you're right.
I was thinking, wow, in 35 years, Detroit is going to be like the apex of
Did they
places
say
to be.
why though? I mean, I heard that too, but I didn't hear about why it's Detroit.
Well, because the weather and they're going to have water,
Lakes,
like fresh water. They have lake access. There's basically they're going to have all this stuff, and they're going to have stable weather that's predictable enough that you can live and whatever. So
and you can
the
run
bottom
to
line
Canada.
is you'll be able to live there really effectively as we have more climate change. And so I was like, this is so interesting. So in 35 years, the news story is going to be 35 years ago, I bought a house in Detroit for 99 cents. And now it's worth $20 million, and all those climate refugees from Texas and Florida and
And you can get a house in Detroit for 99 cents.
Yeah, you can. And so, it's going to be these people who are like, and now I rent out my house for $100,000 a month. It'll be 35 years from now. And they'll be
Get your houses now, folks.
$10 million or something, whatever. But in Miami, they're actually pumping water out of the streets at high tide every day. This is climate change. It's happening now in Miami. So the Miami people will be moving back to Detroit, and they'll be buying, they'll be paying high rents from the people who were smart and bought a 99 cent today.
So name this show Detroit, Here We Come.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And we
Detroit,
need to
here we
move
come.
Silicon Valley to Detroit. They'd be happy. All right. Well, it's about that time, ladies.
All right.
Did anybody name the gnomes?
No.
Jeez.
Sorry.
My gnomes are so sad. Look at them.
Sad.
All right. Well, we got to come up with some names for the gnomes because they're too cute not to name.
Know me.
All right. So let me thank Ustream for our Ustream services. We stream live and we record with Ustream, and so they're particularly helpful for our show. New Tech, I had the pleasure of having lunch with some of the New Tech fellas the other day, and they're coming out with some cool products, and we love New Tech. We love our TriCaster, and always will. And thanks to Steve for stepping in and doing some of my audio work for me. Thank you, Steve. And thank you to my lovely, lovely co-host, Rebecca Woodcock. Thank you.
Sorry about the tech issues.
Well, sometimes
It happens.
the stream is stable and sometimes it's not. But here you are, and thank you so much for fighting the good fight. Hallie Suit Tucker, thank you for being here today, Hallie.
Thank you.
And Mary Hodder.
Thank you.
Alrighty. So I'd like to invite you all back next week. I'm sure we'll be recording on Thursday again. G3, please check out our Facebook page. And we've put up some new tools so that you can watch the show and our previous shows from the Facebook page. Look for that Ustream tab. And I'd like to just say, step outside your comfort zone and do something great and come back and talk to us. This is G3, and everybody can say,
Bye.
hang on, let's see. That's what we'll do. And everybody can say
Bye.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.